I took this fight in China. I'm getting a lot of positive things, but all the negative comments, when you click on they're always private, which isn't a coincidence, because they're just negative, nasty little people that hide behind anonymity, as you said, and they want to post whatever they say. They never do it from their family account or their account, when they have wife and kids, because no one wants to be that much of an asshole. So they set up a sly little account that is set to private, and they use that to talk shit. Or maybe they're not family men; they're probably 15-year-old kids, if I'm honest.
And the other thing is, how many times have you're a professional fighter. I see this happen all the time. You'll post something, and then guys will start talking shit to you. How many threats have you dealt with where people are like, yeah, come to fucking Cuba, we'll fucking, whatever it is. I've had people threaten me, threaten my kid. People, I'm not discounting a woman's grief, because I know that a woman deals with more when she walks down the street, and there's a certain fear that I think you have as a woman that a man doesn't have. But you have to look at the reality of it. It's like, you don't have to be on the internet. You don't have to be on Twitter. You don't have to be on Facebook. You can step away from these things. These are platforms that you're volunteering to be at. If somebody was threatening me constantly and threatening to rape my child or rape me at the mall, I wouldn't go to the mall anymore, or I would make sure that they wouldn't be at the mall anymore either. The truth is, it's overflooded, so you really can't do much about it, but you don't need to use those platforms.
Well, exactly. That's why I choose not to take any notice of them whatsoever, unless it's written. And I don't mean an insult. I mean, unless a comment is written with some actual integrity or structured in a way where this person is actually trying to give you constructive criticism, then I might take that on board. And sometimes that has been the case. And I think, yeah, I see your point there. If it's just, somebody screaming a ton of abuse and this and that, then I immediately, it just goes out of my mind. Simple, it escapes my consciousness straight away, because, it's, as you say, I can choose to step away from that whenever I want, and instead of choosing to step away, I just abandon it instantly, because it's just crap. Oh, this is good. I'll interact with this. I'll maybe press like, maybe I'll respond, and so on and so forth. But happy International Men's Day, Lewis.
Let me speak. As we're talking about International Men's Day, I was wondering about this, because you've been in the UFC for a long time. You've been practicing mixed martial arts for how many years now?
Martial arts, 30 years.
And mixed martial arts.
Mixed martial arts since 2003. Well, no, actually, I was doing it in the 90s. We just didn't know it was mixed martial arts. We used to call it Knockdown Sport Budo, KSBO. But yeah, I mean, specifically MMA for the sake of being an MMA competitor since 2003, 14 years.
So, women or females in mixed martial arts, it's a fairly new thing. So some people, I guess, are very new to the sport, and they came in after Ronda Rousey. But it was almost out of nowhere, dude. Ronda Rousey hit,
Well, Ronda Rousey, I guess she was responsible for a big boom in it. But prior to her, there was Gina Carano. Remember her? And, of course, Cyborg has been around a long, long time.
Of course.
As well, but go on.
But these girls were around for a long time, and Dana White, while these girls were around for a long time and on top, said women will never be in the UFC. Then along comes Ronda Rousey, and he changed his tune like crazy. And I just kind of want to ask you about this, because we get this in comedy a lot, right? There's like major disproportionate numbers of men in comedy versus women in comedy.
What would you say that is, like a 80-20, 70-30?
I'd say something like that, 80-20 I've heard. That's kind of the split.
I'll be honest. I mean, some female comedians are very funny, but I find a lot of them annoying, Lewis, because every female comedian that I see, it's always the same old stuff. Men, periods, bad dates. It's like, Jesus Christ.
You know what it is, though? I think you're talking about, I think that is kind of the stigma attached to female comedians.
It is. Every time I've seen a female comedian, and some of them have been very good, as I say, but there is that general same narrative that they use for the jokes.
Well, I think, when if you look at comedy 10, 15 years ago, I think that kind of was the case. And something happened recently, because there's a lot of chicks that are fucking murdering it. And I think it's for two reasons. I think, number one, there's a cultural thing right now where women are really supporting each other. And there's a lot of men as well that are supporting women as well. And I think, look, they're all fucking white knights that are just trying to get pussy. But either way, there's a lot of people that are out there pushing for women and minorities and gays and trans people to win the race. They're really rooting for them. So if you're in a crowd, if you're at a comedy club and the crowd wants to laugh, they're going to laugh. So girls have been killing it lately. And then I think a second part of that is that women are also, I think, a lot more encouraged to talk about darker shit, and they're talking about fucked up shit now. And they're talking about, you know, in my opinion, the best comedy comes from that place. So the fact that women are kind of going into more of like, yeah, we've been fucking mistreated. Let's talk about this now. I think that's adding a whole darker edge to comedy today. I think that's why dude, I can give you a list of like fucking 10 female comics that are incredible that you've never heard of. Hold
on. So how did this relate to women's mixed martial arts?
The point I want to make, though,
make a comparison.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be a huge discrepancy or a huge disparagement in the amount of women that are getting into MMA versus men. Probably much more so than 20%.
Hold on. So you mean less women?
Oh yeah, I think that the percentages.
One would assume, but obviously women's mixed martial arts. Of course, it's never been popular because, as you just said, it's still a relatively new thing. But it seems that every big fight has a women's fight on the card, and they're generally pretty entertaining. I mean, last night, did you see the fights last night? Last night, you had Beck Rawlings versus, sorry, I forget her name. It was the first time in the UFC. And I kind of rolled my eyes when it was the co-main event. But I'll be honest, it was a decent scrap. It was a good fight, Went to a decision, and both girls were trying really hard to get the victory. So I would say there's more women getting involved. Okay, you're probably right. The disparity is probably still something like 70-30 men to women.
No,
but I would
more.
say in terms of new people picking it up, I don't know, women must be closing that percentage.
Think about your gym. Think about your gym. When you go into your gym, your MMA gym, you think it's like 2 out of every 5 people in that gym are women? No.
Well, my gym is more of a fitness gym, to be honest. I mean, of course, it is a UFC gym. We do jiu-jitsu and we do cardio kickboxing and Thai boxing, but generally, it's more of a fitness gym, and it is predominantly, I would say, a lot of women there in the classes.
Mike, we need to fucking get you into more of a manly gym. I got to be honest with you.
That's why I'm losing fights.
No, I didn't say that. Jesus,
I'm training with a bunch of women. Lewis, it's International Men's Day, for crying out loud. But that doesn't mean you can disrespect all the women at my gym.
Do you think that GSP was training with women?
Hard. What?
Do you think GSP was training with women?
Fuck no.
Let me ask you. Actually,
I just want to throw it out there. I've never trained with a woman in my life.
You never have?
No.
Not even just.
I go down into Ruka, the gym where I train with Jason Perillo's gym, and Cyborg's there. And a couple of times he's like, "Do you want to move around with her?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." And then Gabby Garcia, do you know who she is?
Oh, that gigantic Brazilian bitch.
Yeah, she's actually very, very sweet. She's a nice girl, but I haven't trained with her either because I'm like, well, one, there's 2 reasons. A, because I am a male chauvinistic pig, I don't want to train with a woman. And B, there is a possibility that Cyborg might kick my ass, and I just don't want that out there. I don't need that. I don't need Cyborg kicking my ass a week from a fight, okay? So I'm just going to steer clear of getting my ass whooped off a woman. Good standard practice for a man. Avoid women. You never lose to them.
Yeah. I mean, but here's the thing, the women, there are women who train with dudes, and do you think? Let me ask you, do you think the dudes ever go?
Small dudes. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Team Alpha Male.
You'll hear about that though.
Team Alpha Male and Uriah Faber, because for the most part, I mean, could you imagine me sparring Paige Van Zandt, for crying out loud, or someone like that? The Karate Hottie, both very nice girls, both very good at what they do. But, I get up to 220 pounds.